That's right.
Point.
Good point.
Okay.
Let's go to bed.
Halo Take 2, because we... oh, wait, is this recording? This is Halo Take 2. Welcome back to HM and Big E Review Things. I'm Elvin. This is Homing. We've never introduced our names, but those are our names. And today we're here to talk about the new Paramount Plus series, streaming series, Halo. And episode 1 and episode 2 has just dropped, and we've watched both, and here are our thoughts on Halo. What did you think?
Well, when the trailer came out and they announced it on Paramount Plus, which is a new streaming platform, they're trying to compete, right?
They're trying.
I knew that they needed IP, so I'm interesting that I guess 343 lent them Halo, or whoever owns Halo lent them Halo. No, but that's not Bungie anymore, right?
Yeah, no, it's not Bungie.
So
I don't think lent is the right word. Sold. Their souls are
stronger words than that.
Yeah.
But I thought that it's going to go in one of two directions. One is going to be more faithful to perhaps what fans like about the video games. If you've been watching this, you know that Halo is a huge franchise that's probably 20 years in the making now.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Right? From Halo 1 to all the way to Halo Infinite.
Original Xbox.
Original Xbox to Xbox X now. Mm-hmm. And I thought it's going to go in that direction. Or, more likely, they're going to try to appeal to a wider audience and try to get more fans and get more subscribers to Paramount Plus.
So, having seen episode 1 and 2, do you think they were trying to please the gamers or appeal to a larger audience?
I think it is the latter, which is trying to appeal to a wider audience by cramming in a lot of stuff that either tries to bring out some drama or emotions. Especially episode 2, I found that was really quite strong, without giving spoilers away. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, same thing. I thought it was a weird franchise. I mean, I've played, I think, almost all of the Halos. I do like the games a lot.
We're playing Infinite right now.
We are playing Infinite, but this is not a great franchise to build an entire series around. Your main protagonist is, for many of the early games, almost silent and without personality by design, and for a video game that works. It doesn't work so well for a TV show. And they've tried to flesh out that character a lot more. He died in 3 and then came back.
I don't remember.
And then he loves... Anyway... Yeah, so they're trying to develop that a bit more. I just don't think that world and that character is really rich enough to develop a whole world around. Like
if you're going to do it, though, how would you do it?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I think if you were going to do it, I think build... And I think they're trying to build up some of the characters, like the secondary and the support characters that kind of are around him. Yeah. And that is probably more interesting than breaking down who the chief is and his past and...
Let's face it, the video game is a first-person shooter about a super soldier dressed in green armor killing a bunch of lizards. That's all you need to know about the franchise. He picks up different weapons.
Yes.
I guess he has a few allies.
Does he? Oh, yeah. Some of the military people.
Some military people that he's sort of friends with. So if you're going to build this series, I think you got to go do that, where he is just a killing machine, and maybe at the end of the series he realizes humanity. Right? He realizes it's a RoboCop journey.
Yeah.
Right?
Which that's a really good comparison, actually. And so I think they needed to spend a lot more time.
That's right.
Kind of as him, as robot, as following soldier that's obedient, and then you make the turn. They're making that turn like right away, and
that's right.
We're supposed to care.
I don't know if we're going to spoiler territory, but
yes.
let's go right into it since some of you have watched it, episodes 1 and 2. What you mean by that turn is they bring the humanity out of this guy a little bit in a forceful way.
Yeah.
Let's go through it. The plot, basically, there's a dusty civilization in the middle of nowhere. And this is coming from the trailers. You know that people want to see the Master Chief come.
Yeah.
They're getting, they're having a good old time doing whatever they're doing, playing cards and looking at forests and stuff like that. And then Covenant land.
Yes. And then
the lizards land.
And then they try to fight the space lizards, but oh no, they're losing. And then in the middle of the battle, completely lost. Yeah, in the middle of the battle, a UNSC Pelican comes, and bam, you get the landing of Master Chief.
I've actually wondered a little plot point here. Why did the Covenant land outside of the city? I guess they were going for the artifact.
Right. So then why did they attack the city?
I guess they're like, these puny humans are a threat, which they weren't. And now they've attracted the...
Oh, it's because they were chasing Quan, maybe.
Well, sort of. Maybe she discovered their presence.
Yes.
Quan is the little the little Asian girl.
Yes.
She Asian? I think so.
I believe so. There's some weird stuff. I actually just think... So I guess I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but having seen episode 1 and 2, I can tell that by the costume design and the set design that they're trying to add age and wear to it to make it look more lived in and that kind of stuff, especially on the desert planet and in episode 2 on that asteroid.
So the Star Wars.
But I find the problem is the lighting or something else about it still makes it look very fake and too clean. Something's wrong about it.
Well, that's called the green screen. Where you could tell in this Halo series that they're employing a ton of green screen. Some of the shots look sloppy. You could tell that it's probably just a patch of dirt and the actor's acting. And you know that whole background is green screen because it looks off. And the lighting, again, is too clear, too clean. It doesn't look like they're actually in the desert.
No,
it looks like they're in a Paramount studio.
Right.
And then I don't think any of the scenes are shot outside. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know, with a lot of these new series, they're talking about budget. The reduced budget, you're going to shoot in a studio, which is way cheaper than flying the entire crew out to the middle of the desert to shoot this. And then,
we're going to have a review of another show that we just watched recently that was shot on location, and you can tell the difference. Moon Knight just came out, and that's right. Visually, again, this one looks so off.
The human eye is incredible at detecting
something wrong.
Yeah, and you'd think that technology has gotten to the point, but. And it has, but you've got to blend it a lot better with a lot more practical sets and maybe even on location shooting. So anyways, Master Shi shows up. He does all the Halo stuff.
The team arrives, Silver
Team, which is a Spartan team. And they do their typical battle stuff. And I don't know what did you think about the battle? What did you think about the armor and the weapons?
Yeah, I thought all of that, I mean, a lot of that is nods to the game, and you'll recognize the different weapons, the shielding, the HUD, his visor, and the sounds, when his shield is broken and he has to recover it.
Yeah.
I kind of liked all of that. I thought all of that was done really well. That fight sequence, I thought was, kept me really interested. It was engaging. Yeah, I liked it.
Right. I don't have any nitpicks about that. I think that's what fans want.
Right.
Unfortunately, as we progress into episode 2, there's zero of that.
Yes.
So what happens? It's a little bit convoluted. He finds the artifact after saving everybody minus one person. So actually, he failed his mission because the entire colony was wiped out.
Was his mission to save the colony?
Well, what's he there for?
As we learned in episode 2, it actually might have been to destabilize the colony so that UNSC can install that actor that always plays like the bad guys.
That's right. But they find the artifact, and obviously he activates it. So it's sort of centered around him. He's the only one who can activate this.
Well, him and either we learn in episode 1 or episode 2, and that random woman. That's with the Covenant. She can activate it too. Because she's like, oh, you found someone else that can activate that thing like I can.
Right. And that's deep into the other spoiler about the Covenant.
Okay.
But basically,
he finds the relic.
Right. He finds the relic. They bring it back home to Reach. Reach is their training planet.
Yes. Except they don't bring it back home, I guess, by procedure.
Right.
Remember, he breaks procedure. Yeah. He goes by himself and the girl and the relic. And then he sends the rest of Silver Team away. And because he sees, I guess the whole thing is he sees memories. He's beginning to see the memories of his childhood.
So you're left with a little bit of mystery there, but then he's ordered to terminate the girl. That's when the thing shifts a lot.
Yeah.
He's ordered to terminate her. He chooses not to. It's almost like he doesn't... and that's what you mean by it jumped too quickly to his human side. He didn't even pull a gun and think about it. He just said no. And he does a thing which is, I thought, shouldn't have been done, where he reveals his face.
Oh, why would they do that so early? Again, all of this, screams that it was all rushed, right? All of this, a show just came out and last year, and was super successful, called The Mandalorian, where the main protagonist had his helmet on for like 99%, and you didn't see his face until the end of season 1, and that was so effective. Why rush to take his helmet off to reveal?
Exactly, and that reveal was that... he had to do that, even against his code, to save the child.
Yeah.
So you felt like he was growing as a character. This guy, for some reason, takes off his helmet, and then he keeps it off the entire runtime.
Yeah.
Even in dangerous situation, that helmet is off. Okay, so one bullet could have ended his life. Right. So
because he said the helmet kind of connects all of his thing and it feeds all the information to him.
Right, and also his skin is not bulletproof. Okay, so they go back home, and there's a lot of bit of this politics stuff which nobody cares about. You know, the Halo universe. When you play the game, you don't care about the politics. You just want
But
to.
They have to develop that. That's the only part that kind of has room to grow. I agree, it's not interesting. I don't remember anything about any of that stuff from the games.
But why not just be? It's a massive war, and it's just the whole series is about him in the trenches. It doesn't have to be. They zoom out to the general talking in a boardroom, and then people are backstabbing each other, and then the doctor talks about her ethics about why create the Spartans. I think the Spartans should have. And in the games, they certainly do. They have a certain respect and a kind of a lore to them. When they walk in, people are a little bit scared. They don't talk. They execute the mission. And then they bring back the body, and that's it. And this one, it's like the Spartans take off their helmets. They're talking in the boardroom like everybody else. It's a little bit tonally a little bit off.
Yeah, so I mean, from the initial fight sequence on the planet Madrigal, from the battle scene on that planet, I thought it was really cool to see Chief fight with his team. And I thought, okay, we're going to get a couple episodes of that, before something happens.
But that's what I mean.
Immediately, right away, they abandoned that right after that one fight scene, and then they decided to go the, God of War or Last of Us route, where, it's big soldier guy protecting a small child.
And in this type of franchise, I don't think putting the children in there really work, because that's going to be the emotional tie. And she's not going to die. You also know that's going to happen. And I felt like the problem with this is nobody really outside of the gaming community knows what Halo is. So if you're going for to try to appeal to masses, you have to set it up where you feel the dire consequences of this war.
Yeah.
You see battle after battle, and the Master Chief's armor is all worn down. It's pretty clean, I think.
It's very clean.
Right? It should be all worn down.
Yes.
Unless he gets a new suit every time he goes out.
Right.
It's worn down. They're tired. You see all these soldiers just battle worn, and the Master Chief and the Spartans are the ones who are carrying on the fight.
Yes,
I think that would have been the first 3 episodes. Then I
think that's that also again reminds me of my point about just too clean. Everything's too clean. It doesn't feel. And when you're talking about everything very worn and that kind of stuff, it brings to mind one of my favorite movies that at some point I hope we'll review on this channel, Edge of Tomorrow, right? Yes. Where all the exosuits and all that stuff, it's great. It feels much more lived in, and you can feel that war is happening and they've been fighting.
Let me give you an example. Okay. You might not have noticed. In the second episode,
yes.
It's a small one. They show the incredible viewpoint from the very high tower breach.
I know what you're going to know.
And the 2 characters are walking out, and it looks green screen already, but there's no guardrails.
That immediately jumped out to me too.
And I was thinking, there's no way any civilization
They're like 150 floors up.
Right, and you have very important people walking there, right? These are generals and presidents. Right. They're walking on this thing, no guard. Maybe it's a shield that we don't see. Okay?
Right. I was thinking that too. Maybe that's their in-universe explanation. But there's also no wind.
There's no wind.
Like you're that far up. You're standing out on a massive balcony.
That's what I'm saying. It's little things like this that the human eye and your logic says.
That's right.
That's just nonsense.
Because obviously they filmed it and that was like the ground floor, entrance, right. And so they were able to stood there and then they green screen and they keyed everything else out.
That's right.
But there's no logical sense.
No logic to it.
Okay, so I think episode 1 ends with again. I thought they were going to go somewhere interesting.
No.
With Team Silver is now going to fight all the other troops to protect Chief.
No, he just
leaves. But even before he leaves, they do point. They're like, I think they draw their weapons and they're pointing at the people that are trying to breach the ship.
That's right.
And there's 0 consequences of that, and they completely drop that whole line.
That's right.
And then leave. And then the magic MacGuffin powers up, and then it turns off everything, but their ship powers up, and then they can leave.
That's
okay,
right.
sure.
Episode 1. Yep.
That was episode 1. I thought episode 1 was okay.
Okay.
I thought it was, I thought there were, again, the fight scene I thought was good. You're introducing a lot of characters, a lot of politics. Not particularly interesting, but they're trying to set the table,
It had some merit. I thought it was a pretty decent opening, but I was thinking, oh boy, what's going to happen in episode 2 to 3, 4?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, and so let's jump to episode 2 then.
Sure.
I feel episode 2 showed its cards, and I think forecast the rest of the season. So I'm not sure we'll be reviewing this much more after this.
We could do a final review.
Of the whole thing. But episode 2 was pretty boring.
Uneventful is the other word.
Yes.
He goes. So let's go through it. He's on a spacecraft. He's talking to the little girls.
It starts with. Oh yeah. It starts with the flashback, doesn't it? I don't know. I actually think the flashback is a good thing to kind of focus in on, because I think that is an example of how they don't trust the audience. That flashback did not need to exist. He could still meet him later, and he can still throw out the same lines as, "You only gave me 5 minutes," and you could, like, it doesn't trust the audience, so it has to spell it out. Oh, he had this moment,
and not just that. It was a little bit tropey kind of stuff where his bunk is 117.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of
but that's his code. That's his soldier number. Okay, I'm okay with that.
Were there 116 other bunks? I don't think so. Okay. Anyways, whatever. They go and he meets his friend. His friend wants to desert the army.
Yes.
Right? Which is probably going to be punishable by death, but he says, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, basically. Yeah. And he leaves, okay?
And he leaves, yes.
And then it jumps to he's on the spaceship with a girl.
Yes.
They fly through an exciting scene to get to the asteroid world.
Yes, I have a problem with that.
I have a problem with that.
Okay, what's your problem? I have a few problems with that. Right. First of all, I mean, it's super visually cool. They have to weave through asteroids that are about to collide. But when he leaves, I guess he's leaving through the back door, because then you can leave and there's no asteroids. Or you can leave and go through this way.
Right.
Why didn't they enter that way?
Well, I have another
problem.
What's your problem? My problem is when they're flying through, it's really exciting, right?
Yeah.
But there's a scene where he's talking to the girl, and he looks down at her for like a second.
Yeah.
But you would have died.
Yeah. The speed that it's showing when it's showing
they're not asteroids like this.
Yeah.
They're going like this in your face.
They're very fast.
A computer needs to be navigating this, and his eyes need to be. But he looks at her like this.
Yes. A few times.
Clearly showing that this is just green screened. They're like, look at the girl, look back. But we'll just add that stuff up. So and there's a little bit nitpicking there. They land on the planet.
No, my other nitpick about the asteroid thing is, I think visually it's a cool design, and I can see someone drawing up the concept art for this space base, and it's all tied to these other asteroids so they don't float away. That's not how space works.
That's right.
There's gravitational pulls on each other. If you're stopping something from flying away, that means eventually it will all crash into the largest mass. Everything attracts.
I think they should have just made it a moon planet.
Right.
Then just land on it.
No. I mean, in different space franchises, they've always had asteroid bases and that stuff, and I think that's fine. That's a good concept to explore. But why are you tying up all these other asteroids that will eventually crash into you?
For visual impact, man.
Yeah, because right outside the base, apparently asteroids are hurling left,
they should put a shield or something.
Something to explain. There's no gravity here, or they're kind of thrusters kind of pushing things away. But I guess I'm looking at it through too hard sci-fi of a lens, and it's not trying to go for that. Okay, anyway, they land on the asteroid base
on the planet
called... We've forgotten.
Asteroid World.
No. It's called Rubble, I think.
Oh, I wasn't a bad choice. Asteroid World. So they land, they get off, and they meet... they walk through, and everybody's scared of them. They draw their guns.
Yes.
And then he meets his old pal from the military.
Soren.
I did not know his name.
Again, this is another example of them not trusting the audience. It's like, they pointed out his arm, so when he shows up, he doesn't have a jacket, so you can see the arm, so that you have to know that.
That's right, but that arm looked really rubbery.
Yeah, it was bad prosthetic.
If anything, you should have done... He should have a robot.
A robot arm, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because it's... Okay, I guess the arm's still working, okay, but it's kind of disfigured.
And then they put a jacket on him. So, that whole sequence of him showing up without a jacket, only to put on a jacket, is just to make sure, because as an audience... You're stupid. You won't remember that it's this guy that we just introduced.
I know. It could have been a very subtle thing, where it's a shot of his arm from the bottom.
Right.
Anyways, whatever. Then...
Okay.
During this tense scene, Master Chief decides to take off his helmet.
Yes, with all the guns pointed at him.
Right. Okay. The worst time to take off your helmet. I don't know. And then it sort of shows him going to his asteroid home.
Yeah.
They start talking a little bit, and he introduces his wife and kids, and basically showing that you can have a life outside the military.
Right.
And then what happens? Nothing really. There's a bunch of politics that happen behind the scenes.
Yes.
They're talking about Cortana and how that's going to control Master Chief. And then they're like, well, not really, because he's like an older generation of Spartan, so...
I don't even remember that in the game. Cortana is, that controls
No, she
him?
just talks to him.
Yeah, she's just an AI that assists him, right?
And that should have been the whole thing. She's just an assistant.
Yeah,
opens doors for him, right?
Well, I know they in the last. Well, in one of the games, in 4 or I don't know, they tried to make her a lot more important of a character. Now, remember, I think there was one where like the AI is degrading, and then she has to go find something to save her.
You know
was
what?
a big deal.
All the games I've played
connection.
probably as many of the games as you have, but the story doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's
you just go and do something, but you go through a firefight and you use different weapons. That's it.
Right.
And you use a car. That's
Again, the franchise doesn't have a rich world, so it's an odd choice to build an entire franchise.
I don't even know what a Halo is.
A Halo is the planet.
The ring planet.
They discover the first one in the games, and then they find out it's like a station. I think it's a weapon, but then I think eventually they discover the flood, and it's like a weapon to destroy the flood. Remember, like the zombie, like the again, super not memorable. I agree with you,
but they hint that there is some kind of
it is a weapon,
in this series,
and that it can destroy the world.
Fine, it's a MacGuffin. It's a huge MacGuffin. Whatever. They're all trying to find it.
Yeah.
Again, weird. So I think there's some politics in the background, and then basically they say they send Silver Team out in a big spacecraft, and Master Chief says to his friend, "Okay, take care of this little girl. I'm going to go do something," and he just surrenders himself, and that's it. That's the whole story.
Which I was surprised that he surrendered her because I thought they were going to go with that kind of that trope or that setting of soldier and little child, but I guess they're abandoning that. And then a Silver Team is on a ship. They're tracking, and then the tracker turned on, and literally nothing happens with those three.
Nothing. They just bring him back in handcuffs.
But they didn't even. Did they bring him back?
Well, yeah, because.
Oh yeah, because they were on the big ship. Okay. Yeah.
And then it just.
And then it ends with. So I guess
it shows the other human in the Covenant world.
Yes.
She has some kind of connection with the chief or something. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
They kind of hint that she was adopted as a child.
To be the mother or a twin sister or something.
Yeah, exactly. They've adopted her into the Covenant, and she's going to probably be. She's going to turn human too and betray the Covenant, something like that. Anyways, doesn't really matter.
And then I think we're supposed to feel a lot of emotion, that the conflict that Chief is feeling, having to come back and trust, not Miranda Keyes, Dr. Halsey.
Dr. Halsey.
Right? He has to feel that he has nowhere else to turn, and so he comes back to her, even though he doesn't fully trust her, and you're starting to not trust her. And I think we're supposed to feel a lot about that. And And even the flashback of the memories, it's supposed to be vague, I guess, but and he's not supposed to know what his memories are. Mm-hmm. But in just screenwriting in general, when the character doesn't know something and you know it, and you're supposed to feel for their confusion, that's really difficult, right? It's a lot easier when you also don't know what it is, and then you can kind of empathize, what is that? But we clearly know, that was his childhood, he was abducted, or he was taken away, or he lost his parents, and then indoctrinated into the Spartan program and had his memories erased. So we know that. We don't, why are you showing us such extended, long flashbacks of this to make us think and try to get us to be confused with him? I don't know. I don't like stuff like that. It's
not great execution.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of issues here with this series. My prediction, is that one season they'll be done with it. I don't know if they're going to. No, I'm going to see season 2 out of this.
I think we'll see season 2.
Really?
I think we'll see season 2 just because.
Contractually obligated.
No, I think it's just a streaming wars thing.
Okay.
I think this one will be reviewed pretty poorly. I guess. There is a chance it could improve vastly and become a hit.
What could you do with this character? He is a killing machine who, he becomes a little bit more human. But at the end of the day, it's just a guy in a suit shooting an assault rifle.
But Paramount Plus really wants to establish themselves. I mean, these streaming wars are huge, being worth billions of dollars now.
What do they have besides Halo?
Star Trek. Paramount Plus has all the Star Trek, and it's resting all on Star Trek and now Halo. That's why I'm saying they're going to push to season 2. They will throw money at it, regardless of how this one does, just to, I'll keep watching, keep subscribing, and that kind of stuff.
They really, even when you play the Halo Infinite game, I didn't even play the campaign.
Why? I hadn't played the campaign either. I started it and I didn't.
Because it's the same
The story
stuff.
is not interesting.
It's the same stuff.
Yeah.
There's nothing new. Yeah. He's going around forest, shooting bad guys, and then eventually gets into a tank. He gets different weapons. It's really about the multiplayer why Halo exists, right?
Yes.
People want to play the multiplayer. We've played the multiplayer a bunch of times. It's a great game. It's a very solid, return to form with Infinite. We're not reviewing Infinite, but that's what people wanted to do. It's not really about any story or the chief. You don't care when you're playing this game what planet you're on. You're just like, oh, we're playing on a desert planet. We're playing on a forest planet. We're playing in a city. That's all you need to know. So they made an entire universe out of this. Anyways, yep.
I am not looking forward to future episodes. I don't see it getting substantially better in any way. I don't expect us to be reviewing this anymore. My overall score, after the first episode, I thought the pilot was, a B, a mixed bag. I thought there were some good parts and some boring parts, but had maybe potential. It was okay. But after episode 2, the series is a C for me. It's a C.
Yeah, I'd say I'll go one above you, C+, just to make it a little bit different. But yeah, I'm not seeing too much hope. And I think most people watching this probably would agree with us. It's watchable, it's passable. You got nothing better to do, watch it.
Yeah. If it gets substantially better, we'll review it again. But if not, we'll aim to revisit it when the season ends.
Well, how many episodes are there?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, all the streaming stuff now is like 10.
Yeah, it's 8 to
10. 10, yeah, 8 to 10. So I'm guessing around there. So that's it for our review of Halo, the new streaming series on Paramount Plus. Let us know what you think, and let us know what you think about what we think. Until next time, keep watching stuff. Aren't you going to ask them to subscribe?
Subscribe. We have a few more subscribers now, but keep going.
All right.